Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and I'm here with another series. That's right, I'm here with another series. Usually I'll do like a series and then just have like randoms throughout the week, but you know what? I was really thinking about it because it's something I've been working on, and I really wanted to make sure that you had it on micro goaling. Micro goal this whole week is going to be on micro goals, right? And you think, oh my God, that's 5 episodes. Yeah, because it's not just about the micro goal, it's also about a macro goal, right? So macro, big, micro, smaller, right? And so first let's talk about what that has to do with your goals and your desires. Think of micro goals as overwhelm busters. Like it literally busts your overwhelming feeling. When you allow yourself to follow your boundaries, like we talked about last week, holding yourself accountable, but making it to where they're bite-sized pieces, right? Now listen, you and I, well, I can only speak for myself, but I love a giant Snickers, the king-size Snickers. They're great, but it can get a little overwhelming, right? You're eating it, Snickers sometimes gets chewy. Those bite-sized ones, you can be like, that's good. Now you might have 57 bite-sized ones, but they're easier to digest, right? So think of tiny bite-sized pieces as micro goals, okay? So let's start first and foremost of even establishing what a goal is, right? You're like, duh, I know what goals are. Yeah, I know, but let me just hear me out on this. So let's talk about what goals are in general. Goals are what a desire is. But remember, a goal without a plan, simply a dream or a wish. So you can have, I want to be happy. Okay. We are not doing that. We are not doing that. Make sure you listen to my podcast on manifestation and intent that was just up this past weekend. You're going to need that because you got to stop with these blanketed things like I want to be happy, I want to be wealthy, I want to be healthy, I want to be wise, I want to be all the. Those are really big umbrellas. So that's not really, that could be like to say I want to be content. What does that mean to me? Nothing. What does it mean to you? Absolutely nothing. So in order to establish a goal, you got to know your why. Why is that your goal? Why? Well, because I want to pay off my stuff. Okay, well, I hear that. I appreciate that. Is that your only why? Because if you're only doing something for money, that's already a big red flag. Listen, sometimes you're going to have to do whatever you have to do. You know, I hear that, and you got to be willing to do that because that might be the micro goal to get to the macro goal. I have so many friends who are like, they're actors and different things, and they're not like, they're kind of okay, but they're still like doing like serving and bartending on the side because that's not their dream job, but it's their micro goal to be able to pay off the bills so they can keep doing what they're doing. So you also have to understand that just because you have a goal, you got to know the why, and you got to be willing to do the work. The grunt work, the uncomfortableness, the things that you don't want to do. That's why those micro goals are going to really help you. So let's start with the macro goal first, right? So now let's say you say to yourself, okay, so we'll talk about my second book, okay? I'm trying to give it in real time so you can relate it to yourself. So my second book, I have the month of October is a big drill down my book month. That's right, 2 months from now, because that's when I had to fit it in. It's a big drill down my book, try to get it pretty much wrapped up and sent off to the editor. That's my goal. Now, I have to reevaluate that goal at the end of every month because who knows, it might go into November. I don't know, right? Because you got to also be willing to understand that the macro goal, you got to leave room, the wiggle room. So the micro goals will help that because I'm going to have you reanalyze everything in a couple episodes, like reanalyze what your goals are. Because you have to realize just because you set a plan, you can't get married to it like it has to do this way. And then when one thing goes bye-bye, you're like, oh, I'm losing my mind, right? So that's not going to serve your best and highest good. So you got to understand that the micro goals will help you to where if something takes a little bit longer or goes awry, it's perfectly okay. You're able to get that in those bite-sized pieces of candy, right? So understanding your why. So with my book, so first I had to know why was I going to write a second book? Well, my first book was several years ago, 6 years ago almost, 7 years ago, and it was on grief and things like that. But I've since evolved and, people have said, hey, I want to know more about your backstory and how you ended up where you are. And so, and I literally had the book done, but I scrapped it. Not because I was like, oh, is this going to be good? No, I didn't scrap it like to never have it out. It's just I put it on the shelf and I restructured it because I could tell by my micro goals where I wanted it to be. I wanted to give more people like, hey, you know what? You can't live in a victim mentality, and this is why, and this is what you can do to take that power. Right. So I had to reconstruct it. And in those micro goals, even though I was almost done, I literally was like, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to shelf this, because now my desires of my why shifted. So just because you have a plan doesn't mean that you have to continue it if it's not following what you got to have that inner passion down here in your stomach too, right? So once you establish your why, so that is my why. So that's your end goal. That is your macro goal. So you got to start with the end in mind. Okay? But don't look at the end of this goal. So let's say something different, like your weight loss goals. 20 pounds. First of all, I won't say I have a problem with weight loss goals, but as a person who, I don't believe in like diets, and unless it's ethical or like diabetes or something like that dietarily, because I don't believe that foods are not bad nor good. They're just food. And so it's about, those, just moderation, right? But so let's say you say 20 pounds, but now when you get to 20 pounds, okay, you might feel better with yourself, but what else are you going to do outside of losing those 20 pounds? Well, I'm going to feel better in my pants. Okay, that's your why, but there's other things that you're going to get out of that. Maybe you're going to have refound energy. Maybe you're going to set a new goal of running a 5K. Maybe you see what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be, you can't do a goal based on an insecurity either. Because if you're still struggling with body dysmorphia, like I've had body dysmorphia most of my life, thank God that's not so much an issue anymore. It'll rear its head every now and again. But if you have body dysmorphia, you can lose 40 pounds. It's not going to matter. So make sure that on that journey, in that weight loss journey, you're also in these micro goals dealing with the deeper issue as to why you have these body dysmorphia in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying? So a micro goal is established from looking at the big picture, but knowing your why. Don't do your why out of maliciousness. Don't do your why out of desperation. Why do you want it? What is it going to do? And don't do it just for money. Again, you will have to do some things just to pay the bills. Got you. But don't do a job thinking, I'm going to go do this because it makes a lot of money. That's not going to serve your best and highest good. I promise you, you will just have nice car, nice house, and still be insecure. So it's not going to matter. So once you've established that why and you've established the goal, now we can start getting into the smaller goals. So what you're going to do with that is, I would love for you to have, now this is my journal thing that I was talking to you about in the journal series a couple weeks ago, but and I have another one, it's just in the other room, because I have books all over the house that I'm always writing in. But it's a good idea to get a piece of, because it's all about paper and pad. Don't be doing this don't be doing this just on the computer. Well, it's good to have it, right? You got to have that. I like to do things in Google Docs or Google Pages or Sheets, because then I can access it anywhere. But I need it on paper and pad too, and so do you, because you want to be able to check things off. It's a mental thing. But as you go through here, like as you said it, you want to establish what a realistic expectation of time is. So if you say I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, that's going to be a problem. Could you do it? Probably. Would it be the healthiest thing on the planet? Hard pass, no. So you want to look and see what the realistic expectation of what it's going to take to get to that, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in this next video, right? So in this next video in the next episode, like we're on television, but I guess it is YouTube TV, right? So in the next episode, I'm going to be able to give you a little bit more of the direction of how you want to dissect it. It's not necessarily going to be fun, and you have to be willing, and know this ahead of time. When you're following your goals, I didn't say chasing them. Never chase anything. What you chase runs from you, and what you run from chases you. No. Okay. But as you are following the direction, good, but taking the ups, taking the downs, or riding the wave, as you're following that, okay, that is the success. That's literally the success. The end goal is a benchmarker that we're going to celebrate, but okay, now what? So like the journey is the success. So I need you to be clear that it's not, you got to stop saying, if I get this, I'm going to be happy. If I accomplish this, I'll be complete. Stop putting that expectation of whatever that goal is to making you feel whole. No, that doesn't make you feel whole. That's just an accomplishment. Great. Celebrate it. We love celebrating accomplishments. But you have to be willing to allow yourself to go through the journey. You don't get to the end goal without doing all of these little steps. That's the difference between people who are successful and not successful. They do the things that we don't want to do. So let's jump into the next episode, and I'll talk to you about how to set those micro goals.